Welcome to Fortune Tech Debate, where we debate the issues of the day in 2 minutes. Today we're discussing GDPR, or the General Data Protection Regulation, which is a new policy implemented by the EU that forces companies to adopt much stricter regulations when it comes to handling user data. Christina, what does this mean for companies?
So it means that any company, even if it's a US company operating within the EU, will have to give users better access to their data. So within 30 days of a user requesting their data, the company has to give it.
And that has to be an EU resident, so it's not Americans.
Correct. And if that doesn't happen, then the company can be fined up to 4% of their revenues. For someone like Amazon, that's going to really hurt them. That will be $7 billion or 2 years worth of profits.
I mean, that's a lot of pain that they can implement, yeah.
Yeah, and also the company within 72 hours has to tell users if there was a breach. So, sitting on it way less time than maybe a lot of American companies have done in the past.
Yeah, this is no longer a slap on the wrist. I mean, this is a slap in the face if these companies mess up.
Yep.
It's going to be a radical departure from what they're used to. I mean, look at a company like Equifax that sat on its breach for months and months. This is no longer going to be allowed.
Yeah, exactly. So, it's a big change, and companies that work in the EU but are US-based, Facebook, for example, they're probably going to change their data collection policies because they don't want to treat an EU user different from an American user. That just makes their lives more complicated. So they might even start collecting less data on US users like you and I.
Well, we've seen the regulatory backlash against big tech here in the US very recently. I mean, Mark Zuckerberg came to Congress. He went through the ringer there. Do you think that we could eventually adopt something similar in the States?
I don't think so. I think that the U.S. tends to be kind of, more pro-business, perhaps. Very little regulation. Anytime we have problems, like this, or, for something like Wells Fargo, people always say that the fines don't work. These big companies are paying, billions, millions of dollars, which in the grand scope of their business really doesn't affect them. They could be repeat offenders. So I don't think that that will happen here, just because we kind of let business go and just kind of let them do their business, yeah.
Well, as you said earlier, I think that, we're going to see tech companies, they're going to start abiding by these rules, even if they're not based in the EU. Just because it's simpler for them. But anyway, time is up. Come to fortune.com for more tech debate.